actually have a quorum. Thank you, Kagiso. Kagiso has started the recording. Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues. Welcome to the IGBIS AGM 2022. Can we again just check, colleagues, at this time as we start the recording, how many people we have in the room?
We have 23 people now in the room.
And we have quorum.
Yes, we do have a quorum.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. I did say welcome, so let's just say welcome again. I'm following on the agenda, colleagues, if I can direct your attention to the screen where the Secretary Ingrid is projecting. We have opened and we have determined quorum, so we are at agenda item number 3. Welcome, everybody, again to LIASA IGBIS AGM 2022. Item number 4 is confirmation of the agenda. Ingrid, if you could go, I think there's another item just at the bottom. If you could scroll down slightly. Oh, yeah. Let me hear from colleagues if there's any items to be added to the agenda, anything to be well, we can't remove anything. Everything that's on there needs to be on there. Anything in the chat? Can we confirm the agenda as it stands? Can I have it supported and seconded?
I second confirmation. Thank you.
And who is that?
Pam Mavome.
Thank you very much, Pam.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right. We can move on to attendance and apologies. We have apologies from our chair-elect and treasurer, Mersha, who is not at all well, and we wish her speedy recovery in her absence. We also have apologies from Tini de Klerk, who is unable to join us, unfortunately, even though she had planned to be here this morning. Are there any other apologies? Is there anything in the chat?
No.
Okay, excellent. Then we assume that everybody who was going to be here is going to be here. I suppose there are still, if we are 23 and 27 registered and there are 2 apologies, there's still 2 people who either has to join or we accept their apologies in their absence. Yes?
We are up to 26 participants, so
Oh,
it actually seems like
we're
quite
good.
a full house. Yeah.
Okay, great, fantastic. Then we can move on, colleagues, to item 6, personalia. Are there any personalia? Anybody who needs to be thanked? Anybody who is celebrating a special birthday? Any bereavements that we should be aware of? Anything in the chat for item number 6, personalia?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Then we can move on to item number 7, and it's from IGBIS AGM 14 September 2021. Ingrid, I think you'll have to share the screen. Can everybody see that? Is it big enough?
Can you increase the font a little bit? Thank you.
Okay, that's excellent, Ingrid. Thank you very much. Okay, colleagues, there is page 1. Any corrections to page 1? Anything in the chat? Okay, going on to page 2. Yeah, I think you can scroll a bit down, Ingrid. Any corrections to page 2? Then I don't think there's any. We can go to page 3. Thank you, Ingrid. Okay. Any corrections to the bottom of page 3? No? Then we can move on to page 4, Ingrid. Are we on page 4? Any corrections, colleagues? I don't hear anything, Ingrid. So can we, I will propose that we accept the minutes of the AGM 2021 as is. Can I have it seconded?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sarah. Ingrid, thank you very much. The minutes of the AGM 2021 has been approved and accepted as a true reflection of the events of the AGM 2021. Item B is matters arising from the minutes. Colleagues, I think that the matters arising from the minutes will have been picked up in the chair's report. There wasn't anything specific that needed to be taken up from those minutes. There were no proposals for that needed any voting or anything like that. So there were no, what do they call these, motions? So there was nothing that we needed to pick up from there. And the other items were just items of handing over, which I think will be addressed in the chair's report. All right. Okay, I don't hear anything, so I think we can move on to item number 8, which is the chair's report. Ingrid, if you could go to the presentation.
Have we lost Fatima?
It looks like she has dropped off. Oh, wait, no, she's.
I'm back
She's
again.
back.
I did, sorry, colleagues, I did lose a connection there for a minute. My apologies. I am experiencing load shedding, and the consequences of load shedding is that I'm joining you on my device, which I'm trying not to touch because it seems that when I touch it, I lose the connection. Okay, let's get on with this because I do think that the cell tower is not going to last for very long, and I will probably lose the connection anyway. Ingrid, can you share the chairperson's report? Can you share the presentation?
Can you not see it?
No,
Okay.
I'm still seeing the agenda. I don't know if it's just me. Excellent. I can see the presentation now. Ingrid, if you could just put it on presentation now. Excellent. Thank you very much. So, colleagues, I'm going to now present to you as the chair of the Liasa IGBIS committee, the report. I have 6 items that I would like to cover to bring you into full, to bring you fully up to date on the activities of the branch executive committee, as well as the activities and events that we've been arranging. And the last item is just the conference, the IGBIS conference session, which I'd like to tell you about. Ingrid, we can go to the next slide. Oh, I think this slide is out of sequence, but let me speak to it. So immediately, colleagues, the issue that we confronted last year was that we did not have a fully constituted executive committee for IGBIS. And because of that, we, Ingrid, just go to the next slide. I think it's on the next slide. Yeah, okay. I'll have to just come back to the other one. That other slide is out of sequence. It's not in the correct place. The IGBIS Executive Committee had a meeting with the electoral officer, Leila Wahed, and Mersha, who had been elected as the treasurer, then took on the responsibility of chair-elect because there was a vacancy there. So Mersha is currently the chair-elect with the responsibilities of the treasurer. We also had a handover meeting, of course. That was also one of the first meetings that we had with the previous executive team. And there's not much to report other than that the handover, I think, went well, and we picked up the reins from them quite well. I think when Ingrid speaks, I will come in again on the financial report, but we met with the Liasa accountant. This is sort of mid regards to the IGBIS funds. That was around us having to move the IGBIS funds into a single Water National account. And we wanted to make sure that we are properly informed to make the decisions about which accounts into the new, it's a new bank. It was a different bank, so the funds had to be transferred, and we then needed to look at the accounts and the kind of investments account that was available at that bank to move the Liasa IGBIS funds into, and so we needed to meet with the accountant as well. Then we've also put together an awards committee who met, I think, once in order to put together the proposal that you will hear about a little bit later on. One of the very first things that we had to do is to develop the business plan for 2021 to 2022. And the overriding impetus was to increase the visibility of IGBIS And so one of the things that we then decided to do was to do a meeting a month in order to make sure that we remain visible and to increase our visibility on the social media platforms and our other channels of communication. And then, of course, we had several events. Colleagues, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. We had several events, and in fact, we had monthly events, and so there was the planning for those events as well as the dry runs for those events. We find it very useful to have dry runs, especially in the virtual environment, just to chat with the presenters to make sure that they are comfortable with the technology, but also just to give them a feel of the audience and so on. And then in addition to those special meetings and workshops, we also have the executive business meetings, which we decided will be held on a monthly basis. And these are all conducted virtually. And there you'll see us all in our virtual auditorium where we've met initially on Zoom. But we're still meeting on Zoom, yes. Using our businesses and our institutions to support us. Thank you very much. Ingrid, just go back to the previous slide. I just want to speak a little bit now about the visibility. So we really wanted to increase colleagues, the whole impetus and the whole agenda, and what drives everything that we are doing is to increase the visibility of Liasa IGBIS. And the reason that we are doing that, or the reason that the purpose that we are doing it for, is so that when the elections come in 2023, we don't sit with the same problem, where we don't have enough nominations and there are portfolios that are key and important, and they are not filled. I think that all of us in the room are committed to continuing to seeing and participating in a national interest group that pertains to cataloging and description. We are the last remaining national forum, so we absolutely cannot allow IGBIS to fade away. So it's really quite vital that every effort is made to continue having an IGBIS and to put things in place in order to ensure the sustainability of the interest group of IGBIS. So to that extent, we had a special IGBIS in touch in 2021 to introduce the new executive committee and to sort of to inspire people to participate. We hope that it will pay off, and then also to just give an insight into the plans that we had for 2022. Again, we increased and Sarah will speak about this a little bit in more detail just now. We increased our visibility on Facebook and Twitter, making sure that there are regular posts and so on. And then, of course, all of the events that we have done so far have been free events. So eventually they are posted on, well, not eventually, almost immediately. Gahisa posts the activities on the Liasa News YouTube channel, and I encourage colleagues to just go and like and subscribe the Liasa News YouTube channel as well. Thank you, Ingrid. Can you now go two slides ahead? And thank you very much. So as I was saying, colleagues, we wanted to make sure that we are constantly in the minds of our community. And so we decided on monthly activities, and one of that is the conversations with the leaders. And we have embarked on a series of these conversations with leaders. Because Liasa is 25 years old this year, we decided on the previous presidents of Liasa, and we were very, very fortunate that these colleagues are committed, that when we ask them, they agree to it immediately. I'm so impressed with the leadership, the past leadership and the past presidents of Liasa. I'm very grateful. So we started with Zahamet Malawa on the 10th of February. And again, I had hardly asked her and she said yes. And that was the same with all the other presidents. So far we've had 5 previous presidents, Hametsi, followed by Naomi, and then Ujala, Ellen Tice more recently, and Robert Morupa last month. We embarked on this whole series to encourage IGBIS members, but you know, obviously the event is not limited to IGBIS members, so anybody in the profession to take up leadership position, specifically in IGBIS, but also in the broader LIASA and in the profession at large. And this is not necessarily that you need to be, you know, in a leadership position, because one can still be a specialist and lead. We need specialized expertise, especially in this area, and people really need to make themselves available for being seen as an expert. And I'll speak about this a little bit later on, because we are having some challenges in putting together workshops because of that. Okay, and then we asked the leaders to share their career progression, sharing key moments in their career and in their experience and insights, particularly that motivated and inspired them. We also asked them to unpack their career. So in other words, what did they do when they discovered they were short of skill, or what attitude or approach they took in order to forward their careers. And we do this so that others, everybody who's listening, can learn from the example. Okay, Ingrid, I think we can go to the next slide. So colleagues, we really wanted to have a winter workshop, and this is where we wanted to pick up from the previous chair's report, where we wanted to expand the non-traditional description, metadata, and so on. So we thought we'd start off with doing a workshop, not on commercial published books, but on other kinds of content, and which would then lead us into metadata. First of all, of the normal kind that we have in academic institutions, theses and dissertations, which are not complicated, and then leading us into more complicated digitized content and digital objects. This was intended to be a 3-day course. We could only find a music cataloger. We could not find any expertise in the country on map cataloging. We couldn't find anybody who was willing to do audio books and CD books. And there certainly was no metadata describer for objects. The description of digital content we could to some extent find, but not to the extent that we want. Now, this for me, colleagues, constitutes a very serious problem, because in addition to the problem that we have of an aging population and people exiting and retiring, we now also have a situation where those that are still in cataloging are not willing to share the expertise that they have, or they don't feel confident enough to share their experience. So this was a big bust. We spent quite a lot of time trying to find people, writing to cataloging departments, etc., etc. So I'm going to take a moment here and just ask again for heads of cataloging departments where you have the expertise, and for you as an individual person, if you feel that you know something but you're not too confident about it, I encourage you to make yourself available anyway, because we get better. You know, we learn by doing. We get better at it the more that we do it. And the more that you have questions, the more you will investigate and learn yourself, and you will, in fact, be the expert. So I just want to, again, say that please make yourself available, please engage, and please participate. I suspect, colleagues, that this is not a problem that is new to this executive committee. When I've discussed it with my team and colleagues who had already served on the LIASA IGBIS executive committees, this is the same kind of problem that they found. Now, either we need to help colleagues be more confident, or we have a much more and deeper problem. in that we are bleeding skills, and we're not replacing them. And that requires an intervention that is beyond a national IGBIS committee, which is elected for a 2-year term of office. That requires a national intervention, and all of us in the different sectors, different libraries, to hold hands and to sit together and figure out how to ensure that our country continues to have cataloging and description skills. And you know, I think this is a problem that's been coming on for years, but we really need to do something about it. And I'm very open to suggestions, colleagues, on how to deal with this. Ingrid, let's move to the next slide. Thank you. So we decided, because we couldn't have that winter workshop, that we will then continue with the topic that has been sort of at the forefront of our minds, mostly because our colleague Sarah Golby participated in a cataloging ethics and inclusivity workshop with Dr. Deborah Lee on a previous occasion, and she had also written, Sarah had also written a Liasa in Touch article about it, and I think it was very well received, that article. Now, this one, when we started, we also wanted to find a South African take on it. We wanted South African, for us as South Africans, to talk about cataloging ethics and inclusivity. But once again, we found that there were no local expertise and nobody willing to speak on the topic. So we then went directly to the source, and luckily, you know, Dr. Deborah Lee made herself available, and so we had a webinar on Zoom. Subsequent to that, the question that came out of that is whether we wanted to have a South African cataloging code of ethics, and the room was very favorable to it, and there was quite a lot of interest. We then put together a cataloging ethics task team, which is currently chaired by Judith. I forget what her surname is, my apologies. Can somebody say her surname?
It's Norwoo.
And she is from UK. I think she's from UK, Zayden.
I think it's University of Zululand.
University of Zululand, yes. But we are quite we are quite grateful to Judith and her line manager and the institution that they are supporting Judith in this endeavor. And we've already met with the task team. The task team has already been put together, and all of the resources have been made available to the task team to continue. We will be having a session at conference, and I'll speak about this in a bit. So I think Judith is quite open to having, if you are interested to join the task team, for you to come on board. Excuse me, colleagues. And then if there's any suggestions or anything like that, you can use the IGBIS Ethics Gmail address. Okay, thank you, Ingrid. This is the last item on my deck of slides, which is the IGBIS conference session. It will be on the 5th of October. It's a fairly late session. We want to do some key important work. I think we will have to give everybody some energy tablets as they come into the room. It's a 90-minute session, and we're hoping to do quite a bit with it. So if you are going to attend the conference, please attend. And we've given you the conference, shared the conference program there as well. And since, colleagues, it will be a Liasa Skexel meeting, we would like to take the opportunity to grow the input and the commitment to cataloging a code of ethics beyond our borders, and perhaps have a regional take on it. That is the aim for the conference. That's our immediate next event. I'll stop there and I'll take any questions if there are any. Anything in the chat?
No,
Icons, are there any hands?
no.
No hands. Alex, feel free to put up your hands and intervene if you, or just chime in if you feel that's a better way of engaging today. Colleagues, and I've come to the end of my presentation on for my part, and what I would like to do is include in the chair's report a presentation that Sarah will do on the social media activities. Sarah?
Thank you, Fatima. Good morning, everybody. Ingrid, can I share my screen? Thank you. I'm just going to take a look and find my report here. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's AGM. I just wanted to do this brief presentation with you to give you an idea of what's been happening with the IGBIS public relations matters over the course of the last year. So we're looking at October 2021 through August 2022. So this term's executive committee took over the administration of the Facebook and Twitter accounts for IGBIS. We're going to look briefly at the analytics and the management thereof over the year. And then we're also going to look at the plans for the upcoming IGBIS in Touch and the IGBIS portal on the LIASA website. So the IGBIS Facebook page was launched in 2019. As of the 31st of August, page has gathered a total of 715 likes and 782 follows. I think in the last couple of weeks, we've gained a few more page likes. During this term, posts on the page have focused on opportunities for continuing professional development and IGBIS events. During the last year, posts with the greatest audience reach included our webinar with auto animation. Sorry about that. Yeah, posts with the greatest audience reach included our webinar with guest Dr. Lee on cataloging ethics and our IGBIS with Leaders event with Ujjwala Sadhguru. So here we can see new page likes between October 2021 and August 2022. We've seen a small decline in the rate of adoption compared to the previous year. However, statistics show that it is following a consistent growth pattern. We've been receiving between 200 and 250 page likes a year until now. This graph is illustrating page reach for the period October through August and indicates the number of people who saw any content from or about our page. This includes posts and social information from people who interact with the page. Page reach, as you can see, is up nearly 110% in comparison to the preceding year. Anomalous reach occurred during May and June, and these spikes appear to coincide with an IGBIS with Leaders event and the cataloging ethics webinar. So we're going to look briefly at Twitter next. The Twitter profile for IGBIS was launched in July 2015. Shortly after that, it went dormant until November 2021, and that's when we decided to give it a try. The Twitter account definitely sees less traffic compared to the Facebook page. The page is useful. However, we share information and updates leading up to and following our events. And the account is useful for discovering upcoming online events hosted by other organizations and groups. This helps us to be informed for the purposes of sharing content on both our Twitter and Facebook pages. So last year, IGBIS in Touch had 2 issues, one published by the outgoing committee and another published by the current committee as a means of introducing ourselves. This year, there will be 1 issue. A call for articles went out to members via email just yesterday. The newsletter should reflect not only activities from the committee's perspective, but insights and experience from the community that it represents. So we really hope that members will make some contributions. We also want to include content from the conference, so we're expecting a release date sometime in November. So the LIASA IGBIS microsite is a LIASA members-only portal and contains retrospective and current information about the interest group. The previous EXCO did amazing work maintaining this site. Our current committee is devoting a day this month to ensuring the content is up to date, and we will also look at where we can make improvements. Of course, these pages are here to serve the IGBIS community, so we always appreciate it when members make contact, have feedback, or have some constructive suggestions so that we can improve our content. We can be reached on our social media pages or at our dedicated Google account, which is liasaigbis@gmail.com. And that's public relations. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you, Sarah. Any questions for Sarah? Anything, did you see anything that you're interested about that you'd like to share, colleagues? I don't hear anything. Okay. Colleagues, that then concludes the chairperson's report. May I ask that the meeting adopts the chairperson's report? I can't see anything or hear, and I don't hear anything. I'll take it that the meeting adopts it if we don't hear wild objections to it. Okay.
Elena Sneyman gave you a thumbs up.
Okay, excellent. Thank you
adoption.
very much. Thanks so much. Okay, we can move on then, colleagues, to the financial report. As I said earlier on, unfortunately, Mersha is not well at all. So Ingrid is kindly taking up the reins. What is it, Ingrid? You're taking up the what? I don't know what it is, but she will be presenting the financial report. Thank you, Ingrid. Taking up the challenge, Ingrid. That's it.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get it to. There we go.
Okay.
So I'll be presenting the financial report, just an overview of the report as it was sent to us from Mersha. So what it contains is the statement of comprehensive income and the financial position, and then the notes on the financial statements and a transfer of the funds. So as you can see, the income, we have an income from an investment account, and as you will hear later on, we have great plans for this money, and we hope that it will be approved by this committee to use the funds for a award that Fatima will explain to you a bit later. So our expenses, this is for the year ending December 21. And so it actually covers the previous committee's activities. But yeah, so this is what we have received from them. This is just a continuation of the income and the operating costs. And in the financial position, as you can see, we have quite a bit of money in our savings account, the investment account. So we have a favorable cash balance. So when the new committee took over, the LIASA office has indicated that we should transfer our funds to the LIASA national office. So all funds for the IGBIS accounts, that is both the investment account and the day-to-day account, was transferred to the national office on the 27th of January, and the IGBIS account was closed. And the amount that was transferred was the full 143,643 rands, 43 cents. The investment option, we looked at 3 different items or account types so that we can try and get the maximum amount of money or interest at least, and without a too long delay in getting notice of the money. I can't remember, Fatima, if you can just correct me. I think we decided on the 32-day flexi notice, which was opened, which has an opening deposit of 5,000 Rand to transfer the investment money into.
Ingrid, this is exactly what we discussed with the accounting office, and I think the option that we decided on is probably on the next slide. But we wanted to balance access to the funds with the return on the investment.
Yeah. And that was it. Are there any questions we can try and answer? So basically, just to say that all the financial statement monies have now been transferred over to the LIASA national office. So the next AGM, the next financial statements will be concluded by the national office. So yeah, that is it.
Are there any questions, colleagues? All right, may I ask then that we accept the financial reports and adopt them for this meeting? Again, silence, so I will take that as a yes. I don't see anything in the chat. If I'm correct.
Chantal Clack has given a thumbs up in support.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. There is, there were no expenditure during this year, during this financial year. And the only thing that we are planning on doing, which is subject to adoption in this meeting, is the IGBIS award. So there isn't really, much to say about the financial reports other than what we have shared with you today. All right, then we can move on to item 10 on the agenda, and A is the IGBIS award proposal. Now, colleagues, yeah, I'm completely relying on my memory. And Ingrid, I hope that we have a document that, excuse me, that we can share. Colleagues, this was an idea that, or the notion that is supported by the previous chairs. I had specifically engaged with the previous chairs in order to hear if they are supportive of this proposal. It is my and our intention that we use the IGBIS funds to support the IGBIS community, because those funds were accumulated because of the IGBIS community. And so I feel very strongly that it's the IGBIS community that should benefit from it. So I spoke with Tini, I spoke with Hester, I spoke with Karen, all the previous chairs that I could find, in order to establish whether there is support for the idea. And there was, and so I've put the proposal together for consideration by the AGM and for approval by the AGM, so that we can then begin to implement the award. So the purpose of the award is to first of all encourage LIASA and IGBIS membership. So the conditions would be for colleagues to be LIASA members, and then to recognize and reward excellence and significant contributions to cataloging and metadata description in South Africa. In South Africa, but not necessarily contained to South Africa, because when we make contributions, we work in an international space, so it impacts internationally. Secondly, the funding for the award, only the interest generated from the substantial amount will be used for the award. So in other words, we don't want to eat away at the substantial amount. We only want to use the investment part of it. At the moment, or at the last count, while the funds were still in the ABSA investment portfolios, there was about a 4,000 Rand increase generated. And of course, it's also our intention that whatever other funds are accrued from workshop and so on goes into the investment account, and that we're then able to grow the interest that's generated from that amount. So hopefully over the years, the amount of funds that's available for the award will increase. And we had initially agreed, but I think that this is something that requires some logistical work, and it will depend on the logistics for that particular year and what the award is, whether this will be manageable. It's planned that instead of paying the funds over to the winner, that in fact the prize will be paid for. So if the award is for a conference attendance, then we'll pay for the conference rather than handing out over the money to the winner, because it then creates other challenges. But that constitutes quite a logistical issue, and so this is something that we really, I think we need to consider again. Then item 3 is the award selection panel. The award selection panel will be comprised of the current committee and the previous LIASA IGBIS chairs. And the award selection panel will convene to decide whether the award will be granted, depending on the available funds. So in other words, the executive committee, together with the previous chairs, will decide whether the award should be granted in any particular year. The panel reserves the right not to grant the award, therefore, and the decision is final, as is usually the case with this kind of thing. And then we move on to the criteria for the award. If you could just page down a bit. The criteria is that the candidate must be a currently IGBIS individual paid up member for at least 3 consecutive years. We did consider, colleagues, whether it should be 5 consecutive years, but then we miss out on new professionals, and we really want to encourage the new professionals, to contribute and to participate in LIASA and be members of LIASA IGBIS. Have a recognized LIS qualification, currently engaged in the practice of cataloging metadata description with a minimum of 5 years in the LIS field. Demonstrate high levels of professional, be passionate, enthusiastic, and have made an impact in cataloging and metadata description. Be a willing advocate for LIASA IGBIS and have registration with LIASA as a professional librarian is recommended. If you need information, colleagues, on how to go about registering as a professional librarian, please ask Anne-Marie. She is the fundi on it. She can help you through the process. And then eligibility, the following groups are not eligible for this award: the award selection panel and the immediate previous winner of the LIASA IGBIS award. The following people are eligible: previous LIASA IGBIS nominees, provided that they've not won in the past 3 years, and all other paid up LIASA members who meet the criteria. And then finally, we looked at the nomination process. The nomination form must be completed and signed by the nominee and 2 nominators. A single motivation statement of a maximum of 200 words, signed by both the nominators, who must also be paid up LIASA members. A career profile of the nominee not exceeding 500 words. An essay by the nominee not exceeding 700 words, speaking to those 3 bullet points: the significant contribution, the passion, and the participation in LIASA IGBIS. And then, of course, we want to know who it is that is being nominated. So we'd like a digital color image, a picture of the person. So there is the requirements for the picture. And then the conditions are: the award must be used for any enhancement and advancement of the winner's cataloging and meta description skills and knowledge. The winner may be requested to attend and present at certain LIASA IGBIS events and meetings during the year, and will be required to write an article for the LIASA in touch within the year of receiving the award. These are very much in line, colleagues, with the other LIASA awards. We, of course, didn't want to be out of sync with it, and so we've tried to stay within alignment with those other awards. I think that's the end of the document and the proposal, Ingrid, if I'm correct. Yeah. So, colleagues, let's hear from you. So what I'm saying is that there is a motion for LIASA IGBIS to have an award, and these are the details of that proposal. And I'd like to hear from you. And then finally, we are supporting this by way of a vote. So,
Fatima, sorry, Ingrid, just scroll down slightly to criteria. Thank you, Ingrid. Okay, so from an admin perspective, we don't have a problem confirming membership in general, but unfortunately, when an interest group is changed, it doesn't retain the history of the changed group. So you can chop and change between groups as much as you like. So we will not be able to verify that a person has been an IGBIS member specifically for 3 consecutive years. Membership of LIASA, definitely, but not the IGBIS part of the membership.
Okay, but Anne-Marie, perhaps the winner or the nominee is it nominee? Yeah, nominee
Mhm.
can show the support for IGBIS in the
Yeah.
membership application for 3 consecutive years.
Sure.
Is that an acceptable workaround?
Yes, as long as you're happy. So yeah, just want to put it out there that we can't confirm
Yeah,
that
I understand.
information. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
understand that. It's very important for me and the chairs that I've spoken to that the ward specifically benefits the IGBIS community. And so that will have to remain, even if, we have to find another way of verifying that information. I appreciate the National Office can't assist with that. Any objections, colleagues? I'm just going to say this. I said this previously, but I'll say this again. In some cultures, specifically the Middle East cultures, silence is consent. So if I hear nothing, I'm assuming that everything is. Thank you very much, Suryata. I'm in support of the motion. Thank you, Lindy, as well, colleagues. So there is support for the motion. May I then ask that we take a vote on it? I think that's the correct procedure. And we'll do so by show of hands. So if you are in support of the proposal, please put your hand up on the functionality of Zoom. So let me find it as well. Okay, there isn't a hands up, but there is a thumbs up. Kagiso, could you kindly guide us which would work better in terms of recording the numbers?
Well, there were in total 7 hands up and a thumbs up.
Okay,
Well,
so
8, 9. Well, some of them have disappeared. 8. So it looks like the majority are in agreement.
okay, thank you. Are there anybody who is not supporting the proposal? I don't see anything. Anybody who is abstaining? Okay, I then assume, colleagues, and we, if we could assist us with the numbers afterwards, that we have support for an IGBIS award.
Yes, Fatima, in total, I counted 12 who
Okay.
were in support.
Thank you very much. I'd like also just to share, colleagues, that in Tini de Klerk, who's the previous chair of IGBIS, in her apology that she sent, she specifically mentioned the award. She said that she hopes it will be accepted by the AGM. She's been passionate about it for quite a while. So I think we can make her day today when we share this information that it has been adopted. I'm seeing messages that colleagues are having load shedding, so I think people may have left the room as well. Let me just, Ingrid, can we go back to the agenda? Is there any other matters on the agenda? And so the award proposal was the last item that we just dealt with. Then if there's nothing else, which there isn't, because we didn't add anything, we are now at item 11, closing. Ingrid, I think I will leave the closing to you because I think I've talked quite a bit. As the secretary of the AGM, Ingrid, you can kindly do the closing.
Okay. Thank you, Fatima, and thank you for all your hard work in presenting all the information. Colleagues, thank you very much for attending our AGM. It is appreciated, and we're glad that we got a quorum, and we're glad that the IGBIS award proposal has gone through. And I think that's a very positive thing. So without much further ado, if there's no other comments or input that people would like to make, any suggestions, any comments, then yeah, we've closed the meeting. And thank you very much for your participation. We really appreciate it. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for the
Bye.
fruitful meeting. Bye.